Hello and welcome to MANHWA-D-SAN's YouTube channel. Get ready for an exhilarating journey into the world of martial arts, intrigue, and epic battles. And hey, if the fighting gets too intense, just remember, it's all fun and games until someone loses a sword. This gripping manhwa kicks off with a commanding voice repeatedly calling out number 2044. After the third call, a young, handsome man with a sword finally responds, apologizing for his delay as he was engrossed in training. A slightly older man chides him for practicing alone, warning that it will only make his body stiff. Number 2044 humbly replies that he is still a junior lacking in martial arts skills. The older man reprimands him, reminding him that luck plays no part in the mastery of martial arts for a second-class disciple. Handing him a scroll, he says, "Well, here's a new mission for you." As number 2044 reads the scroll, he discovers that his task is to assassinate Jianpa's divine swordsman, Gongsan Suu. The reason? Gongsan Suu prioritizes comfort and his relationships with women over the pursuit of martial arts excellence. The mission, eliminate him but spare his lovers. Talk about a sticky situation. Meanwhile, in a grand mansion, an old couple pleads for mercy from the divine swordsman, who recalls their previous pleas and questions why they deserve forgiveness. The couple vows to devote their lives to serving him. The swordsman demands the man's wife, and despite initial resistance, the man concedes under a threatening glare. Screams and a splash of blood follow, signaling a grisly end. Clearly, this swordsman didn't get the memo that sharing isn't always caring. Later, the swordsman gets intimate with a lady, boasting about their business prospects and his plans to overthrow the ruling sovereigns and emperors. However, a voice from the shadows calls his grandiose plans bullshit. The startled swordsman turns to see a menacing figure, who swiftly stabs and kills him. And that, folks, is what you call a hostile takeover. Back at headquarters, number 2044 is scolded for his crude execution of the target. He explains that the scars left would trace back to their clan's swordsmanship. The leader, surprisingly, praises his foresight. Who knew a sloppy stab could earn you points in the assassination game? We then find number 2044 at a tavern, reflecting on his past. Taken by Magyo as a child, he was trained in martial arts, losing everything but his sword. Three barbaric-looking men confront him, bragging about their first-ranked disciple status and threatening him. Number 2044 responds coolly, asserting that the strong thrive while the weak bow to them. They prepare for a fight. Looks like it's time for a good old-fashioned tavern brawl. Meanwhile, a director inquires about the selection of a branch swordsman. The chief mentions that number 2044 seems more suited for gathering knowledge than killing. As number 2044 skillfully defeats the thugs, the chief notes his obsession with martial arts and high potential. The thugs, now defeated, acknowledge his hidden power. Number 2044 dismisses this, saying he simply never had the chance to use it before. They ask if he'll report them to the elders, but he declines, saying they helped him realize which parts of his technique needed more training. When they question how much stronger he wants to become, he declares his ambition to be a supreme sword master, despite their skepticism. He reveals his new name, Mookhyang. Because when you're on a quest for greatness, even your name has to level up. Other place, we see a bunch of wooden dummies being cut thoroughly. Mookhyang then questions himself if there will ever be an end to swordsmanship. He also asks himself how to control ki of this sword and what is the difference between sword ki and ki enhancement. He goes further to explain if sword ki is something that is created when you focus ki towards the blade. He then says that he must know everything about martial arts as we see all the wooden dummies cut in the air and him putting back his sword in its sheath. We then see a robust red-haired man staring at Mookhyang from above. He goes on to ask his servant if that is the boy. He then questions whether the servant is trying to tell him that Mookhyang has never been taught swordsmanship before. The servant explains that it's hard to believe, but it's the truth. The red-haired man then acknowledges that he needs a talented assassin and that Mookhyang should be sent to his guest room later. Guys, at this point it's tiring, so I'll just call the MC Hyang. In the Heavenly Wolf sect, we see the robust man from earlier welcome someone and introduce himself as the lone wanderer and ruler of Iron, Keel Young. Young, along with 5 others, then bowed down, saying they show respect to the great sect leader. The red-haired man then says that he had summoned them to partake in an important mission. He questions if they had ever heard of the Blood Sect, also known as the Corrupted Blood Sect. They're all surprised, but he further explains that they are descendants of the original blood sect that waged a violent war against the Murim 80 years ago. He says that it seems they have been covering their strength and creating even more powerful undead. He tells them that they will be tasked with investigating the whereabouts of the blood sect. They all salute and leave the place. Later in the night, we see all the 5 members dashing through the forest. The girl, breaking the silence, asks why they don't introduce themselves as they are in a team. A man with a cut on his head tries to disagree, but she punches him in the tummy and introduces herself as Okrion from the Rising Shadows. She also introduces the man that interrupted her earlier as Hwan-Su. The blue-haired man on the left introduces himself as Ma-Shik from the Silent Shadows. The man next to him also introduces himself as Jin-Chun from the same group. Our MC then introduces himself as Mookhyang from the Black Assassins. The blue-haired man realizes that the Black Assassins are an elite assassin group from the demonic faction.
The girl announces good news, telling Hwan-Su that as he wanted to join the Black Assassins, this would be the perfect chance to get along with Mookhyang. The man then tells her to shut up, as if that's all it took to join the Black Assassins, then even dogs could easily join. Angry at his remark, she swats him away, but he manages to dodge in time. Mookhyang then tells them that they don't have enough time and they should hurry. The man at the back questions why he is acting as their leader, but the blue-haired man says he is right and that they should hurry. They reach a foggy area, and as one of the group members tries to warn them to be on guard and check out for any traps, he sees the hilt of a sword in the ground. The girl then yells, "Watch out!" And in front of the man, we see a group of zombie-like creatures rise up. They didn't attack, but he seemed prepared as he blocked. He then explained that the undead are from the blood sect. Mookhyang then takes a leap and manages to slash the undead in two. He then explains that this group of undead are nothing more than grunts and that they need to dispose of them quickly as they won't have any issues. The other group members then exclaim that that is easier said than done. They decide to get back to work. They all then start an all-out brawl with the undead creatures. In another place, we see a burning pair of red eyes staring at a pond reflecting the image of Mookhyang and his squad fighting the undead. A man then addresses him as vice leader, explaining that they have intruders at the west border. He then tells him to dispatch someone and the newly created undead. Back to the assassin group, the blue-haired man exclaims, saying that the undead are stronger than he expected. He even stares off to the side, questioning himself who the boy is and how he is easily able to take care of the undead while the rest are having a hard time. Furthermore, he is surprised that Hyang is able to kill them without breaking a sweat. Hyang stares back at him and says that there's more coming. The ground then starts rumbling, and atop a tree, a shadow is revealed to be a weird-looking lady with red hair. She introduces herself as the Hand of Scarlet Flames and commands them to take refuge at this place, as this is where they will find eternal slumber. She then throws a huge explosion at them, and we see the blue-haired man guarding against it, looking displeased that she is a shaman. A robust-looking undead then arises from behind him and attacks him. He manages to dodge by jumping to a nearby branch as he ponders why the undead are much stronger than the previous ones they had fought. The lady then welcomes the intruders, saying that she hopes they're strong enough to test out the strength of a newly created undead. We then see our MC slashing the undead left and right. Looking closer, he is astonished, as one of the undead is a man he had killed in the previous mission. He then says that he guesses the rumors about them using the corpses of fallen martial warriors to create undead are true. He then leaves the other group members to deal with the undead as he goes to look for the main hideout since there is no time to waste. They try to stop him, but to no avail, as he FLIs off before they do so. In flight, he thinks that they cannot fail this mission and that if they dispatched a strong shaman, then they must have a base set up around. He then finds a cave in the mountain, and thinking that this must be the place, he lands. He enters through a narrow path, and at the end, he finds the place where they had been creating the undead, as in front of him he sees thousands of them. He thinks that he can't take care of them all by himself. He then stares off to the side and manages to react to an undead as it punches him to the side of the cave. He coughs and rises up, looking at three shadows. The leader of the shadows says that he is glad that the MC came to them first. Just by his clothes, the vice leader analyzes that the MC is an assassin from the demonic faction. We then see a triplet of eerie-looking creatures, and the man in the middle expresses his thoughts, saying that the MC's body could be used to create a stronger undead. We then find out that the man in the middle is the corrupted blood sect's vice leader, Sir Ma Yum.